DreamWorks, well, nowadays, kind of sort of, is pretty fast and loose with the content that they make. At one point, they'll make a banger, and another point, they'll make some standardized crap. But boy, this one, this is a classic.
I pray we'll meet again if he will deliver
This really doesn't really need much of a summary because, well, Prince of Egypt, obviously, is the adaptation of the story of Exodus from the beginning of Exodus all the way up to the parting of the Red Sea, where we see at the end of the movie the formation of the Ten Commandments, which, well, I'll dive into that a bit later. The story obviously follows Moses, him being brought up and raised, from him being cast out to him leading the Hebrews out of slavery into the promised land. So, not that much I can really say in regards to the narrative, but rather presentation, adaptation, and the overall package that is, well, this being another telling or retelling of the story of Exodus within the Bible. Now, there's been multiple tellings of the stories of Old Testament and Moses and the Bible of old. There's been multiple stories. This is definitely one of the highlights and definitely one of the more notable ones out of all of them. One of the bigger ones is the 1950s Ten Commandments film. Now, I haven't watched that film in a long time as of the making of this video, and I had my hookups with it. It does fudge a lot of things and change up a lot of things. Now, the nature of adaptation for Bible stories, can sometimes be flimsy. Yes, I'm okay, and others are okay with certain things being changed or omitted or merged. That's fine. But when you start outright telling things that didn't happen, that's when you get into somewhat semi-blasphemy territory where are you telling a biblical story or are you telling a story with biblical characters of your own making, basically. This is kind of one of my issues with Ten Commandments, as well as, well, many other issues with Noah, a film I have not watched, but I've heard mixed things on, and at some point I might give my thoughts on in the near future, if there is a demand for it. The director is a really good director, and I like his work, but considering, I wouldn't be shocked if there's some iffy things in it, but that's a rant for another day. And to circle back to adaptation, Prince of Egypt isn't exactly the most accurate adaptation, but it brings in the core message, themes, and the overall narrative into the fold. Things such as Moses' age, Aaron helping him out and being supportive do matter, of course, in the Bible, and they're somewhat omitted in this film, but ultimately what is there does shine regardless. Other adaptations that I also like to bring up are, well, obviously we have the VeggieTales version as well as other animated stories versions, but one version that I really like, that might be my second favorite version, is the Bible series version starring Ben Kingsley, which is a mini-series. And those of you who don't really know, the Bible series is actually a multi-part, series that adapts the Bible, basically, where each story is its own, or each of the more notable stories are their own little mini-series. You have Moses, you have Abraham, you have Isaac, Jacob, you have Jesus, you have Paul, you have many others. Bible series actually has some of my favorite versions, David, Solomon, and Moses are probably some of my favorites. Even Abraham actually has a really great scene. The scene where Abraham is bargaining with God to spare Sodom and Gomorrah is one of my favorites. Richard Harris is a fantastic actor. Bible series has some of the best Shakespearean actors working with them.
My Lord, be not angry. Suppose 40 are found there.
For the sake of 40, I will not do it.
Suppose 30.
I will not do it if I find 30.
20.
For the sake of 20, I will not destroy it.
My lord. My lord, May I speak again just this once? Suppose 10.
For 10, I will not destroy it.
My lord. What of those? Are thou without guilt?
So to circle a little back to Prince, the acting and, well, overall cast is phenomenal, and the late great Val Kilmer, may rest in peace, does a great job voicing both Moses as well as God. As minimal as his portrayal of God actually is, I actually like it, and it's one of my favorite versions, rather. Even though in the actual story, it's said that God's voice echoed throughout the mountains, I kind of liked how he is portrayed in this film, where he's far more warm and more familiar in the sense that he's more comforting. Like, that is something that I like a lot, and that's something I like in the Abraham Bible series adaptation, where God's a lot more quiet, but you can hear his voice, and it's like so pure. It's something that I actually like quite a lot. I guess it's more of a personal thing, rather. The rest of the cast, also great. Ray Fiennes is Ramses the Pharaoh, and he is just absolutely great no matter what. And Jeff Goldblum is as Aaron, definitely one of those late 90s castings, and it's very apparent. Definitely, if Jeff wasn't as well known at this point, I don't think he would have been casted, basically. Not that I don't like Jeff, but it's definitely one of those moments that actually kind of takes me out of the movie to an extent. It feels weird. It feels weird, I guess, being older. And speaking of voice acting, we also have to talk about the musical score, which is just no shortage of phenomenal. And almost all the songs are a banger. Almost. Playing with the Big Boys Now is a terrible song. Memes aside, we all know that song sucks. Let's stop playing this game. That song is terrible. It's one of the worst songs in this movie. No one likes it. Let's move on. Alright? DreamWorks Animation, their studio is just, I don't know what they were on when they were on production of this, but it looks just stellar. The scale and scope of things is just amazing, to say the least. Just almost every frame are still like the most famous shots of this, from the parting of the Red Sea to the Hebrew slaves just building these false idols, and Egypt overall in the background. They all look like frames of painting. That it just looks so amazing on so many levels, and just seeing it all work through like the music and the scores, and just seeing how everyone like interacts with each other, it's just so beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna get into something a little bit here. I just kind of wish that there was a little bit more after this. I wish DreamWorks did more Bible stories, rather, or at least completed Exodus, or leading up to Joseph. It would have been awesome to see what happened after the parting of the Red Sea, like do like a part 2 type of thing, where right after Prince of Egypt, we have the 40 years in the desert, and what happened around then. Even though, obviously, there might be some things that might change. I mean, yeah, the massive fantasy movie, but those of us who already have read our Bibles or already know what happens after the formation of the Ten Commandments kind of know what happens afterwards, and it's a little awkward watching the movie in full.
Nay! There! Wait! Thus saith the Lord, whomsoever hath sinned against me, I will blot out of my book. Do God's work. Purify Israel.
that's more of a minor nitpick and gripe. But yeah, this movie's scale and scope and just overall package is so well done. I just wish there was a lot more. Like, could you imagine if something on this level was made for something like David or even Solomon, who's said to have built the most magnificent temple, whose own house was greater and grounder than the temple itself, was most wealthiest man on the planet at one point, most intelligent man on the planet at one point. Like, his legend is so well known. He's in Arabian mythology. Like, pretty crazy stuff. It would have been neat to see most of that, though. It's just, yeah, overall, like, I guess that's kind of in a way, though, to show how much I really love this, is that I wish there was more of it. But I love what we have, and I'm thankful for what we have, and I thank Mal Kilmer for what he's done, and I give my thanks to the team. They did a great job telling this story, and it was a different time at that point. And luckily now we are seeing a bit of a change. Chosen's incredibly popular, and I don't know if I'll talk about that show in the future, but it's actually kind of awesome seeing things turn around a little bit. Angel Studios is making good stuff. House of David's doing pretty well, so yeah. I think the days of Pure Flix is almost behind us. So with that, I'll close out. Let me know your thoughts on this film, and let me know what other Bible adaptations y'all want me to review. I got a few ideas in mind, so sure to leave a comment, drop a like, and stay chill, and God bless.